Sixer Nation, what up? Another day in the offseason, chugging right along, and we're actually going to switch it up a little bit here today and react to some quotes from Joel Embiid because he hopped on a brand new podcast and opened up about some things that I know are going to piss people off. But was he correct? We'll get into that as well as some things on the offseason of Tyrese Maxey, and Daryl Morey dropped a huge clue that is going overhead. So we'll get into it all, but welcome into Philly Take with RB. I'm RB. Do me a favor, if you do enjoy this content at the end, go down below, drop a little like, and hit the red subscribe button, and be sure to turn on the noties so you don't miss any of the coverage. But we will start with the newest superstar of this Sixers squad. That's right. This is real life, ladies and gentlemen.
How does it feel, number 8?
This is real life. Paul George rocking the number 8. In blue, red, and white at the Sixers practice facility. Yes, the Sixers actually lured a star here via free agency. It is legit. It is real. And he is a member of the Sixers. So feast your eyes on that. Also, I want to talk about something I literally just saw a couple minutes ago before coming on here. We'll get into Joel Embiid and how he has pretty much been the public enemy number one. I kind of mentioned that yesterday, but it's getting weird at this point. Like, here are fans in Paris from NBA Central posting this, yelling at Joel Embiid to give back his passport. So, yeah, not really a big fan of this. I know people are pissed off. I'm not going to play the whole video here, but Joel Embiid getting ready for a USA game, Team USA game, and, you know, he did open up on a separate interview about his decision to choose Team USA and why he did that for family reasons. So the fact that people are yelling things like this at him is just kind of ridiculous in my opinion. And honestly, just leave the guy low, man. He's out here living his best life, enjoying himself and representing his country. So that's where we're at with Joel Embiid, but it's a good segue into this podcast that he went on. And shout out to Drew Hanlen for starting up this podcast. It's called Check Ball. So if you guys have not checked it out, go search that up. It's brand new. And their first guest was Joel Embiid. If you don't know who Drew Hanlen is, we've referenced him here before on the channel. I've interacted with him a few times on Twitter. He is essentially the trainer for a lot of these NBA guys. He works with all of them in the offseason. You've probably seen him with Joel Embiid and Jason Tatum and even guys like Chet Holmgren. He's worked with Kevin Durant. He works with everybody, and he's just very skilled at what he does. And I'm a big fan of him. And shout out to him for having Joel on the pod and giving him the platform to just be himself and be comfortable and open up. Because, you know, Joel Embiid, although he does say a lot of things that certainly toe the line and piss people off sometimes, you know, when you can get him comfortable and just relax, that's more of his natural personality. You know, he's not too much of a loud mouth. He just kind of sits back and speaks his mind freely. And it feels like from this episode, he was able to do that. And I'm a big fan of this pod now, and we'll be tapping into more episodes as this was only the first one. But we start off with one of the things that Joel Embiid said that I think people are taking out of context a bit. He says that Jason Tatum has a super team, quote, "If I go 5 for 20, we get blown out." Now, again, go check out this whole episode, but if you go back and watch this part, what Joel Embiid was trying to say, and it was more so in a joking manner here, like, you know, they go through training sessions, him and Tatum, they all work together in the offseason, and he was kind of joking with Tatum, saying, yeah, you know, if you have an off day, you have a bad game, you're going to be just fine because you have all these studs around you. And obviously you guys just won a championship, but he's saying in the past, you know, I can't do that. Like, I have to be on my A game. And I think Drew Hanlen provided a lot of good insight in this episode just about, you know, some of the ups and downs that they go through together in their training sessions, you know, every single season, trying to improve in these areas. And it was more so in a joking manner. But of course, you know, people like NBA Central are going to post this around and try to get as much clicks and views as they can. I don't think Joel was trying to shade his teammates here. I think he was just being completely honest, and it was true. Hopefully he doesn't have to go through this anymore. But yeah, there have been games where Joel's not on his A game and the Sixers just cannot withstand. So look, I think he just speaks his mind. Sometimes he's a little too honest for his own good, but that's who Joel Embiid is, and I will accept it, right? We want these athletes to open up. We want them to talk more, but if they do, then we get mad. You know what I mean? So look, I agree with Joel Embiid here, but let's go ahead and get more into some of the things that I think are relevant that really haven't been opened up on. And this is the most telling one here, okay? Joel Embiid reveals what happened in the Knicks series. We knew that he was banged up. He was dealing with 2 to 3 injuries, especially down the end of the season. And let's be honest, let's take a step back. He should have never come back. I said that many times here on the channel. I was shocked that he did. And your favorite player would never do what Joel Embiid did. So as much crap as you want to give him for not getting past the second round and playing with this teammate and coming up short here, your favorite player would never come back from an injury that could have sustained long-term damage. This could have damaged his health, and he talked about this a lot more in this episode. He decided to come back because he wanted to do what was best for the team, and I don't care whether you like him or not, you have to respect him for his ability to come back. But listen to this extended version about what he was dealing with in the Knicks series.
And like every single game, like I don't even know if I should say it, but I was basically telling Tyrese, I'm like, I can't last because first of all, I should have never come back early and I should have never come back anyways, but I wanted to play. Like that's the way I feel. But I just kept telling him, I'm like, yo, you got it in the second half. Like I can give you 2, maybe 3 good quarters, and even then, like those 2 or 3 good quarters, it won't be good, but he will be like, and then in the fourth quarter, you got it, and then he's like texting me, fourth quarter takeover. I'm like, dude, you see me on the court, I can't jump.
He's like on the floor.
I can't rebound.
No, literally, because
I can't move.
My seats are.
I can't jump, I can't rebound, I can't move. That's what Joel Embiid was dealing with. So we knew it was bad, but he still went out there and dominated the New York Knicks, who were one of the best defenses in the playoffs. He was the best scorer in the playoffs while he was still there. And Joel Embiid was just an absolute menace. And if he can do that, if he can get to that point, being as injured as he is, imagine if he could just have one clean playoff run. He even said in this episode that he would trade his MVP trophy for one opportunity to be healthy in the playoffs. Not even a championship, just the ability to compete. And you got to love that fire from Joel Embiid. If his counterparts, aka guys like Tobias, could have just gave him 5 to 10 points. You know, he's out there. He can't rebound. He can't even jump. He's dealing with all of that stuff. He should have never came back. And the fact that he did just shows he's willing to put his actual health on the line to compete and fight for this city. So again, you got to take these things into consideration. But it's crazy that he told Tyrese, like, you're going to have to take over. I might not even be able to last past halftime. It's wild what this guy has been through and had to deal with. Now, I really enjoyed this clip here because, one, Drew Hanlen called out a lot of the Twitter weirdos, right? There's a lot of good people in the Sixers community, but there's also weirdos that just come on every day and they hate on Joel and this guy and that guy. And, you know, these people come on and hate on Joel and even said in this episode, you know, I feel like I'm one of the most hated guys. Like, why? What does he do? What does Joel Embiid do that pisses you off, right? Obviously, we want to see this talent be able to compete on the biggest stage. And I like how Drew Hanlen gives him the credit here in this clip. I feel like more people should be giving him credit for what he's been able to do in terms of achieving this firepower, especially on the offensive side of the ball.
So where does that put me on as far as the best scorers ever?
So listen, so we have this argument all the time. And it's funny because I've talked about this with all of my guys and then plus a couple of high-level guys. The difference between the best players ever and best careers ever. And I think that too many times on Twitter or media, they sandwich the two together, you know? But I think that, like, as far as best players ever, we're talking about best players like you in your prime versus other people in your prime. I mean, there's not 10 guys
your stats
that are,
this season was the...
But there's not 10 guys that were better than you, in my opinion.
Shout out to Drew Hanlen, man. Speaking the facts, Joel Embiid, talent-wise, is one of the greatest players we have ever seen. And one other thing that Drew Hanlen said here is that Joel Embiid is scoring at a clip that not even Wilt Chamberlain has achieved. Like, Joel Embiid has the most points per minute in NBA history. So for all the stat people out there, how about that stat? You know, Joel Embiid is one of the best scorers of all time based on the stats and what he's been able to do. And he just needs to have a supporting cast. And I really like how Drew emphasizes in this clip. He says, you know, I'm always nagging Joel to even get more aggressive down in the block, etc. But he's got to have people that can pass the ball to him. He's got to have good post-entry passers. And even Joel highlighted Batum in this clip. So, look, they got to have the right guys around him. And, you know, Drew even said that Joel is always instructing other players, you know, that are on the Sixers that train with Drew of, like, how to cut around him, how to space the floor the correct way, just fit his game. So I think Joel's just taking this next step as a player and as a leader every single year. Now, before we end it off, I want to talk about Tyrese Maxey momentarily because people are now starting to notice that not only has he had another good offseason improving skill-wise, but shout out to C. Bain here, Maxey does look pretty jacked. He's putting on some muscle. You see him in this press conference here, he is putting on some muscle. And if we want to add on to that, here's a recent clip of Maxey working out. Yo, he's starting to get his body right. And I feel like he took a huge jump in this sector last year. But now it's like he's doing everything necessary. And this is why you go and give him the contract that you did. Obviously, he's such a skilled player. I really believe that Maxey's going to be a top 20, 25, 30 player this season. I really do. Based on the trajectory, based on how much he has improved each year, there is no reason that Tyrese Maxey cannot take yet another leap. And I think he's confident. I think he wants to do it. And I think he's not going to let anything stop him. So I'm really excited about Tyrese Maxey and his potential growth this season. And lastly, I just want to talk about the Sixers roster for a second because we discussed this briefly yesterday in our live stream. We were reacting to the press conference of Paul George, but Daryl Morey snuck this in there. I don't think anybody heard it, right? He said that the Sixers are going to keep an open roster spot heading into the season for upgrades and injuries. So we know that they have done this before. They've done it a couple times in the last several years. A couple times it bit them the wrong way and, probably a bad decision. But they go and they sign Reggie Jackson. They have 13 players now. So they're going to sign one more, okay? Whoever it is, they're going to bring one more player in and then leave one open roster spot for future trades, signings, maybe even past the deadline at the buyout market, whatever it is. Obviously now, when it comes to trades, there's more restrictions with the CBA. Maybe they could use some of these guys as chess pieces like KJ Martin or Reggie Jackson, but they are going to leave another open roster spot. Who knows what that'll mean or signal? We know there's probably going to be a trade sometime this season for the Sixers, right, to address that power forward spot, but just something to keep your eyes on. I don't know if he meant to say it, but he did slide it in there. So we can expect one more guy. Who should it be? I'm still on the train of Marcus Morris, Precious Achiuwa. Maybe they go try to bring back Rocco. I don't know, but they still need a power forward. Who do you think it's going to be? Let me know down below. Other than that, man, give me all of your thoughts in the comment section. Appreciate everybody supporting as always. And with that being said, I will catch you all on the next one. Peace.